So maple producers collect sap from maple trees. An obvious question for people that are not familiar with maple trees is, how do you identify a maple tree and what are the different types of maple trees? So there are in New York, there are two common maple trees that are tapped for maple syrup. There's the sugar maple versus the red maple. Sugar maple is very similar to black maple, and oftentimes we don't try to differentiate those in the field or in the woods. But there are differences between red maple and sugar maple. Sugar maple is characterized by a leaf that typically has 5 lobes. So there's 2 at the bottom, 2 shoulders, and then one at the top. So this is obviously last year's leaf, and it's dry and crunchy. So commonly it has 5 lobes, but what specifically makes it useful is that the sinus, so that depression or the cutout between the lobes, is rounded. Also notice that the edge of the leaf is smooth, it has no teeth. In contrast, the red maple often, but not always, has 3 lobes, so 2 at the base and 1 at the top, and then it has the sinus is an acute angle, so it's a sharp angle that you see, and the edge, the margin of the leaf, is serrate, or meaning it has teeth. So those are the leaves. This time of year, it's kind of hard to find leaves because there are no leaves out, but the bark is also helpful for identifying sugar maple versus red maple. The easiest thing to do is to go up and to touch the tree. So we're in a research sugar bush, so we have some of the trees are marked and flagged and painted so that we can keep track of them and how they're responding. With the sugar maple, when you touch the tree, it feels very tight. So the bark is tightly held. And what I like to tell people to do is to rub your hand over it. You get some very delicate flakes. You get some of the lichens and maybe some of the outer bark flaking away, but essentially the bark is tightly held. And when you grab the tree, you can feel that bark is tightly held. Red maple, in contrast, the bark is not tightly held. And so when you rub your hand over it, you can see all of the flaking of the bark. So the red maple has a not tightly held bark versus the sugar maple that is tightly held. The plates, so the bark has plates on both sugar maple and red maple. The plates on the red maple tend to usually peel away more than the sugar maple does, not always. And sometimes they will be more likely to peel from the bottom or from the top versus sugar maple that peels from the sides.